Hi all, so in a moment we're going to carry on where we left off with ratio and fractions and stuff, but before we do, we had a starter yesterday, didn't we? That was to do with inequalities, and I promised to show you how I would have completed that and see whether or not it agrees with anything that you might have done for it. Alright then. Right, so here's our puzzle from last time. And the first number I was able to put in was along here, because this one's bigger than that one, which is bigger than that one again. So that could go 2, 3, 4, but it can't be 4. It could go 2, 3, 5, except it can't be 5 because this number is also smaller than that one. So that means that this cannot be a 5. It cannot be a 4. Therefore, it must be a 3. So we've got 3, 2 and 1 there, which means we must have 5 in that row. Now this number here is smaller than that one, which is smaller than that one. So this must be 3 and 4 because this is a 5 here, so it's got to be getting bigger as it goes. And if that's 3 and 4, then we must have a 1 here. It takes a bit more searching to find the next number, but eventually I know this cannot be a 1 because it's bigger than something. This is bigger than something, it cannot be a 1. This is smaller than, but it cannot be a 1 because it is below, it's in this column here, and we've already got a 1 there. So this is smaller than something, so this is the only one that can be a 1. And then I can continue looking at 1s because I know that this can't be a 1 because it's in that column, this can't be a 1, this can't be a 1, this can't be a 1 because it's bigger than other numbers, this must either be a 4 or a 5, so the only place in that row that a 1 could go would be there. So it's not about guessing, it's about looking for one which must go. We also have 4 numbers out of 5 there, so this has to be a 3. And the next one I can see is 5, because you can't have a 5 here in this column. Obviously you can't have a 5 there. You could have a 5 there. You can't have a 5 there because it's got to be smaller than 4. So that's got to be a 5. And if that has to be 5, this number here is bigger than a 2 or a 3, so it can only be a 4 or a 5, but it can't be a 5 because it's in that row, so that's a 4. Now we've got 4 out of 5 of this row, so there's only a 2 left that can go there. I know that 3 and 4 go either place there, not sure which one yet. Looking in this column, this one could be 1 or a 5. This can't be a 1 because of that and because it's bigger than something, so this must be a 5 and that must be a 1. And then we know that this number here has got to be bigger than 3. Well, it can't be a 5, so it must be a 4. And if that is a 4, then remember over here it had to be a 3 or a 4. This can no longer be a 4, it must be a 3, which means 1 to 5 up here, that must be a 4. And now up here we've got a 3 and a 5. Well, this number is smaller than 4, so it can't be 5, so it must be 3. So this is called process of elimination that we're doing now. And then in this row and this column, we're just missing a 2, which is smaller than 5. And we have completed it. If you think I've made any mistakes, please let me know. Now, I'm not going to worry about question 11 because it's just like question 10 that we did last time. And these last 4 questions on this worksheet, what I really want to focus on today, because I want us to take some real time to think about it. So here's question 12. Pause it. Think about how you could draw a bar to help you out, or 2 bars or 3. See what you come up with. So I know the ratio of adults to children is 3 to 1. So I'm going to say, right, adults 3. All of these boxes, remember, with ratio, have to be the same size as each other. Children. And when it says girls, that doesn't mean women. So this is children who are, as opposed to whether or not they're male or female. So we've got children in that one part there. Now it then says the ratio of boys to girls is 3 to 2. So if we're just thinking about that little bit there, then that is on a 3 to 2 thing for boys to girls. So we've got boys to girls. Now we're thinking about what fraction of all the people. Now how many times bigger is this bar that we've got here? We've just said instead of having one box, we're going to have 5 boxes. So that means if this is still going to be in proportion to the adults, we would need to multiply the number of boxes that we had for adults by 5, which would give us 15. Now I'm not going to bother drawing them all in there. I'm just going to write 3 times 5 equals 15. And all together I've got 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 boxes, of which 1, 2 are girls. So girls are 2/20ths of all the people. It hasn't said in its simplest form, but they would really want that. So let's then divide top and bottom by 2, because 2 goes once into 2 and 10 times into 20. So 1/10 of all the people are girls. Right, here's another one. I know it's tricky, but pause the video, draw yourself some bars and see how far you can get. So this time we've got a school trip. The ratio of staff to students is 1 to 10. Well, let's put that in first of all. So I've got 1 member of staff to every 10 students. So let's just put a tiny gap in there so we can, and then we've got 10, so that would be 1, divide that into 10, so each half I divide into 10. Right, so I've got 10 students. This time it's not about whether they're boys or girls, it's about whether or not they're year 7 or year 8. All of the students are either from year 7 or year 8. The ratio of year 7 students to year 8 students is 3 to 2. What fraction of all of them are year 7? So if the ratio is 3 to 2 for year 7, what that means is that for every 3 year 7, so if I do red for year 7, I'm going to have 2 for year 8. And then if I do that again, that uses up all of our students. Now, what have we got? We have got 11 bars, haven't we? We've got 11 squares in our bar, and 6 of them are red. So year 7 is 6. People are the 1 for the star, plus the 6 for the year 7, plus the 4 for the year 8. So that gives us 6 out of 11, or 6/11ths as our final answer. And we can't simplify that because 6 doesn't go into 11, and 11 is a prime number. Question 14 then. In the ratio of adults to children is 7 to 3, the ratio of boys to girls is 3 to 2, and they want to know what percentage of all the people in the cinema are girls. Well, don't panic too much about the percentage at first. Start by trying to do the same thing that we did before with the bars. So pause the video and give it a go now. So we know the adults to children is 7 to 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are adults. And I'm going to use red for children just to make it clear, but they mean the same amount, they're just a different colour to show they're the different sort of type of person. Well, all children will become adults, although some say that adults never grow up. Anyway, we've got our 7 to 3 there. The ratio of boys to girls is 3 to 2. So within this area that is boys and girls, we've got 3 to 2 boys to girls. So that's going to be this same distance here. It's being split into 5. So it's going to be a bit like that and that. So if we say that these ones here are the girls, we have got 3 parts here and 5 parts here. So how can we make them tee up? Well, the way to do it is if we have this 3 as a number that the 15 goes into. Sorry, that the 5 goes into. And because 3 times 5 equals 15, we need to have another look at the children and make that 5 times as many. So the children are going to be split into 15, or should I say each one of the children's parts are going to be split into 5. So if I do that here, 1, 2, 5, another 5, another 5. What I've now got is 15, and if I were to do each one of these into 3, that's also 15. And now if I have a little look at what I've got here, I've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts that are girls. But it's 6 out of how many? Well, it's 6 out of 15 plus however many we've got for the adults. Now we had 7 for the adults, but if you look at the size of the box being the same as these ones here, we times all of these by 5, didn't we? So we could say that the adults are going to have 7 boxes times 5 equals 35 tiny boxes. And this is 6 tiny boxes. So 15 plus 35 is 50, and then we've got 6 out of 50. Well, now we've got 6 out of 50, we've got 2 marks, we've got the fraction of it. All we need to do is turn it into a percentage, and a percentage, remember, is a fraction out of 100. So if I multiply the top number and the bottom number by 2, I get 12 over 100, so it's 12%. Final question. Pause the video and give it a go. So hopefully, first of all, you've come up with something that looks like that. And now we need to try to work out what 30% of the women is going to look like. Well, 30%, if we could divide the women into 10 equal parts, that would help, wouldn't it? Can we do that? 3 doesn't go into 10, but what we could do is we could make each of the women's parts, we could multiply it by 10, so that we actually had 30 Now I'm just going to say that, how about if it was, if I split all of these into tenths, and then I said I'm going to have 3/10 of that bit, 3/10 of that, and 3/10 of that, because 30% is 3/10. We're going to have 3/10 of 3 boxes. So we need to work out what 3/10 of 3 is first of all. And that's really tricky because 10 doesn't go into 3, but actually we've got 3/10 of each box, and these numbers are making it tricky. So I'm going to say that each box, I'm just going to pretend each one is worth 10, because then that's going to work nicely there. So I'm going to have 3/10 of my 30 women. Well, that's going to be 1/10 would be 3, wouldn't it? So 30 divided by 10 equals 3, and then we have 3 of those would give us 9 out of our 30, but we've also got another 20 people there, and there's 0 of those 20 there are women under 30, isn't it? So we've got 9 out of 30 plus 0 actually gives us 9 out of 50 in the end, because those are also, so we've got 9 of those plus none of those, making 9/50 as our final answer.